The New Holland name stands for quality, and nowhere is that quality more apparent than in New Holland remanufactured engines. These units aren't just repaired or rebuilt, they are completely remanufactured, with absolute attention to detail, extensive testing, and rigorous application of the original equipment specifications. The only way to understand just how thorough this process is to watch it in action at our Springfield, Missouri remanufacturing facility. Core engines arrive at the loading dock and are examined by specialists. Those that pass this first test move to a cleaning area that will show any faults hidden by grease and grime. The core engines are then taken apart piece by piece. Everything is disassembled. High-stress parts such as bearings, freeze plugs, and pistons are automatically scrapped and replaced by new ones with OEM specs. Certain major components, crankshafts, rods, camshafts, and heads, go to a special area to be cleaned and inspected. If viable, they're machined to CNH specifications. All separated core parts are thoroughly cleaned before moving from the disassembly area. You won't find this at any other remanufacturing facility because this machine was invented here. Traditionally, metal parts are baked and cleaned in a blaster that sprays surfaces with small steel shot that knocks off dirt, carbon, and paint. The problem is that shot gets wedged in places difficult to see, and they can work loose later and cause engine damage. This unique washing machine eliminates that problem. One more example of the CNH commitment to quality. The next stop on the line is this MagnaGlow procedure. A technician sends an electric charge through the block and then sprays it with a specially formulated solution that reacts to the charge. An ultraviolet light is then used for surface inspection, which makes any cracks easier to see. New freeze plugs are then inserted, and the block is then pressure tested to ensure there are no cracks. That test is at twice the PSI the block would normally experience. This is when we can establish the integrity of the block so it can be machined to exact OEM specifications. Main bearing caps are fastened with an automatic torquing device that eliminates mistakes when torqued by hand. The block is then line honed by this machine that ensures all main cap bores are at the proper diameter and in perfect alignment. Then the CNC machine takes over. In this state-of-the-art process, a computer-controlled mill finishes the top deck of the block so the head gasket will seal properly. The CNC also restores the cylinder bores to clearances that will allow for standard replacement pistons after sleeves are inserted. This unique sleeve insertion process ensures a tight, permanent fit. The sleeves are first inserted into a container where liquid nitrogen drops the temperature to 300 degrees below zero. As the temperature drops, the sleeve contracts, making it easy to slip into the bore of the block. As the sleeve warms to room temperature, it expands and forms a permanent, tightly fitting seal. Then another unique process. A torque plate is attached to the engine block, bolting it down with a torque assist device prior to honing out the cylinder bores. This important step simulates cylinder head installation and allows the cylinder bores to be honed to OEM specifications without distortion. The cylinders are then honed to configurations specified by CNH. The computer readout on the honing machine displays a highly magnified representation of what the actual cylinder walls look like before, during, and after the honing process. The block undergoes yet another cleaning at this point. Then the cam bearings are inserted and the cam boring alignment is checked by this device. To give you an idea of the precision involved in the entire process, more than 800 gauges are used to test and measure New Holland remanufactured engines, and more than $100,000 is spent each year on gauge control and calibration. Responsibility cards follow each component through the reman process. Each procedure that is necessary to meet or exceed OEM specifications is confirmed on this card. Also, there is a computer monitoring module at every workstation linked to an intranet that provides operators with detailed data on every part and process in the factory. Even the wash water is sediment tested to prevent particle contamination. Finally, the engine block is ready for reassembly. All during this time, other engine components have been undergoing their own remanufacturing processes. Core crankshafts are cleaned in the automated washing facility and then undergo the MagnaGlow procedure to determine metal integrity. A first piece check is conducted for each style of crank. This calibrates the exact test settings for each of its brothers sharing the same part number, a process done whenever a series of components are to be machined. Crankshafts are then given a hardness check with this special measuring tool with a diamond tip. Units that pass the test are machined on a large OD grinder. During the grinding process, measurements are constantly being taken to achieve OEM tolerances. The crank also undergoes a unique stroke check, vital to quality control, but not conducted by many other remanufacturers. Finally, crankshafts are micro-polished with a machine that provides a finished surface that is virtually indistinguishable from new and tested for proper surface finish measurement. Camshafts undergo a similar reman process that includes grinding to exact specifications along with a barrage of testing. Cylinder heads also get detailed cleaning and the MagnaGlow procedure, and then are pressure tested for coolant system leaks. If any leaks are detected, the head is discarded. Heads that pass this test are then milled to OEM specs. Valve guides are added and guides and valve seals are machined. The head then goes through another cleaning process, and then the valves are inserted along with the valve seals and springs. Finally, the head goes into a vacuum test, this time to check the integrity of the combustion chamber. Connecting rods are carefully inspected for damage with bad ones thrown out. Those that remain undergo a boring process to reestablish the rod end diameter to OEM specs. Bushings are replaced with new ones, and the rod end length is also brought back to spec. Then a weight measurement is conducted to ensure all rods that end up in the same engine share the same weight for proper balance. The rods and all components end up in the assembly area where everything is put back together again. Every engine part that is not reman is brand new. Therefore, all parts have undergone close individual inspection and testing, either by the new parts vendor prior to shipping or by highly trained techs during the reman process. The assembly process is very precise to OEM specs with automated torque machines ensuring proper settings. The final test is the dynamometer. Even if the engine has passed all tests to this point, if it doesn't pass the dynamometer, it doesn't leave the plant. The dynamometer adds a load to the engine similar to what it would actually experience in the field. Leads from a computer are attached to the engine, and the dyno takes it on a wild ride for 30 minutes or so. Only when the engine checks out to OEM specs is the engine given a perfect performance grade. In addition, every engine has an oil sample analysis performed after the dyno test. CNH quality control must approve each and every oil sample before any engine can move to the next process. It is then sent to the paint booth for a brand new paint job. And to complete the process, the newly remanufactured engine is fastened to a special base, and a custom designed box is fitted over it to protect it on its final journey to your dealership. Remanufactured products are a value alternative that are far superior to repairing or rebuilding. But as we've seen, not all remanufacturing is the same. New Holland remanufactured engines meet exact OEM specifications as a result of rigorous testing, inspection, highly sophisticated equipment, and an obsession with quality control through every step of the process. Only New Holland remanufactured engines have the quality and dependability to be worthy of the CNH name.